Hey there guys, I'm Pokemon Joe. Today, I am doing a commentary on the NAIC finalist battle, and if you're wondering, I am the finalist, and this is for the VG, so let's get into it.
Thank you so much, Joe and Sierra, and let's give a warm welcome to our first junior finalist. Please join me in welcoming to the stage, Joseph from Canada.
Yeah, there I am in a Gengar shirt.
And of course, we have our opponent as well, Abel from the United States. Let's give him a big round of applause. Players, are you ready? All right, let's go ahead and get this match started. Take your seats, and casters, back over to you.
If Abel is able, not intentional, but that was pretty good, to get Tailwind up, that lets Urshifu naturally outspeed the opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider, which could be very problematic.
Yeah, and we talked about, first look at these trainers or what they could really do, but already look what they've done. The accomplishments that both of these trainers have under their belt. Looking on Abel's side, Milwaukee Regional Championship. How recent was that? Last week? You are coming off of a regional championships. Salt Lake Regional Championship also this year. Top 8 in Indianapolis, and then even dating back to 2018 with the Collin Fields Regional. So Abel, someone who has been playing, still in juniors, but has been playing for such a long time. The accomplishments really speak for that.
Yeah, Abel's definitely had a busy spring and summer so far this season, attending a lot of the regionals. And looking on Joseph's side, not only does he have a great name to start with, but he's also made the regional finals in Roanoke back in 2019, and then this season earlier in New Jersey back in May. So this is no strange position for Joseph because he has 4 other top 4 finishes in the regional championships. But as we look at these teams, there are the 2 Calyrex Shadow Riders we were referring to. Some of the other similar Pokemon, both having Thundurus, both having Rillaboom. You would expect the Rillaboom on Joseph's end is a lot more important than on Abel's side because you need that way to threaten the opposing Kyogre for super effective damage with your Grassy Glides. And there's that Urshifu I was talking about before. If you can make it faster either through max airstreams from Thundurus or from the Prankster Tailwind out of the Whimsicott, then you're able to really punish Joseph's Calyrex Shadow Rider.
Yeah, there's a couple things on Abel's team that can really deal some massive damage to Joseph's team, and Joseph has to be really careful in this because of the fact that you don't have a Tailwind setter on your own team. You have to be so careful because we've seen with these a bit more aggressive teams that having that speed and that damage can be an absolutely catastrophic duo. So now you have to sit back and think, well, I probably am not going to have the speed in here. Where else am I going to take this advantage to try and make sure that I can be the champion of NAIC?
The other thing to look out for is a Gastrodon potentially always looming in the back as a threat against the Kyogre team. We're not going to see it right now, though, at the start of Game 1.
No, instead, that Calyrex Shadow Rider that we've been talking about so much, making an appearance next to Whimsicott for Abel, and you can see an idea of where this is going to go, and that's going to be facing down against the Zacian and the Thundurus.
And both of Abel's Pokemon can't be holding Focus Sash, right? That is what Joseph is going to have to figure out here in this matchup because the information reveal is key. One of them is likely holding the Focus Sash. That then changes the matchup depending on if the other one does not have that security from being knocked out in one hit, which somebody like a Thundurus who can hit Whimsicott super effectively, if it is not holding that Focus Sash, could be detrimental to Abel's strategy.
Yeah, the Dynamax to start things off. Max Airstreams are definitely a way to start making sure that your speed can be going to match while dealing massive amount of damages as well, because Thundurus can run rampant. There's the Tailwind from the Whimsicott, Abel going for the speed to make sure that this Calyrex can go fast with the Astro Barrage. Bringing the Zacian down under half and a little chunk to the Thundurus. Behemoth Blade in response. Of course, Whimsicott doesn't appreciate this attack and went to die there, but this is going to hit into the Calyrex instead. And there is the Sash. Calyrex to 1 HP. Now we'll have to see where the Thundurus is targeting. It will be the max airstream just to finish the Calyrex off.
Double targeting the Calyrex slot because Joseph is worried about the opposing Shadow Rider on the other side doing a lot of damage to his own Shadow Rider there. So that was a really smart play because Whimsicott, a lot of times you're willing to sacrifice yourself as long as you get the Tailwind up in the match. You could bring in you could bring in a second Pokemon that would really appreciate it, like Kyogre, who in under Tailwind you're now pretty fast, and if you use Water Spout at full HP in the rain, that is going to be incredibly strong. But Thundurus did give Zacian and itself the speed boost there to somewhat be able to outpace the Tailwind depending on how fast Abel's Pokemon are there. So you wonder if Kyogre is going to be even able to remain at full HP this turn, and you have to worry about a potential Max Lightning into that slot as well. That's why Thundurus has crept up because of how strong it is.
Kyogre, though, hitting first. The critical hit on the Thundurus doesn't take it out, but it's going to bring it real low, and it does finish off the KO there. But the Energy Ball from the Thundurus not going to be able to finish it off, though. Not very effective hit. And now the Thundurus firing back with the Max Lightning into the Kyogre, and that's going to be a one-hit KO.
That is down. Kyogre is out of this game one. Whimsicott really trying its best, but you know, it's just not enough. You probably don't invest too much into your special attack on the Whimsicott, caring more about the supportive utility it brings. So leaving this Dynamax Thundurus at 7 HP is all it needed to be able to knock out the Kyogre. Now Abel brings in the Rillaboom, as Joseph is free to bring Calyrex Shadow Rider on his side because Abel's has been knocked out. Abel's two restricted Pokemon have been knocked out, so he's actually down to his last 2 slots right now.
And the Rillaboom does not appreciate staring down this Thundurus either. And the Calyrex Shadow Rider, we know how devastating it can be just by itself. Grassy Seed to raise the defense in that terrain, which is something we don't get to see too often.
And that is going to help, as Thundurus is now typically a physical attacker using some of those strong attacks like Fly and Wild Charge and whatever physical attacks you want because you're using Defiant. So that defense boost could potentially be important, especially because I would think Whimsicott is not the Dynamaxer out of these two. So if you are going to Dynamax the Rillaboom, it would help you have that extra damage, and the defense is going to help you against the physical attackers. But he actually switched out on his last turn of Dynamax.
Yeah, this way you have so little health. You're not going to be on the receiving end of a Grassy Glide, because regardless of that's not going to be an effective hit, you only have 7 HP. The Incineroar instead, to make sure the Rillaboom is not going to be able to do the damage that it wants to, especially as Abel hasn't gone for the Dynamax yet. Yes, he's down to his final 2 Pokemon, but now we have the Max Rillaboom on stage noticeably as well, just the Dynamax Rillaboom and not the Gigantamax.
So right, you don't have that secondary effect that the G-Max would have access to. You just have the regular Max Overgrowth.
Whimsicott firing off at Weather Ball, trying finish off what would have been that Thundurus, but now here the Max Overgrowth into the Calyrex, more damage cuts the terrain, bringing that down real low. Not enough, and now Astral Barrage is in return. Whimsicott is going to be taken down, and now only the Rillaboom remains.
Only the Rillaboom remains, and it is currently Dynamaxed for the next 2 turns. So if Thundurus can try to get in while the Rillaboom is still maxed here, it will not have access to the Grassy Glide, so he does not have the priority to get rid of those last couple of hit points that Thundurus has remaining. Now at this point your Calyrex is low. You know you're not long for this match from that Pokemon, but Incineroar can take the Max Overgrowths any day of the week. You just have to wonder what coverage Rillaboom has. If it has Max Quake, that would definitely be the better option, especially because it has been intimidated. You lose out on same type attack bonus, but you're still hitting super effectively with that.
Start things off, Calyrex with the Protect to make sure that if Abel's targeting into that slot, that the Calyrex has a chance to make it through the other turn, but instead a Max Quake. If this is into the Incineroar, it is not. Instead, trying to eliminate the Calyrex, and that is going to make sure all you get is the special defense boost, but you're not going to be dealing enough damage in the Incineroar now with the Flare Blitz. Not too much damage considering the rain is still up, but each turn this Rillaboom is getting chipped just a little and a little bit closer down.
A perfect protect by Calyrex there. Great job from Joseph, because you only take 25% of
Okay,
the
Tailwind
damage
is
there,
gone.
and it was the
So now
last
Calyrex
turn of
will
Tailwind.
probably
Joseph
destroy
counting
this
his
Rillaboom.
turns correctly.
And
Now the
even-
Calyrex
whatever
is
he-
faster
whatever he
again
kills,
than
it's not
the
gonna-
Rillaboom. You're going to be able
He can't
to
win
hit
this
it with the
point.
Astral Barrage. It is single target as well.
Yeah, and there it is, the
Yeah.
Astral Barrage. No surprise, the Rillaboom's going down, and Joseph going to be up 1-0 in our grand final series.
Yeah, this is an international battle, but the title will be staying in North America as either a Canadian or someone from the USA is going to win this one. And I think we really did see how important the speed interactions were in that game. It was also important that Joseph saved his Calyrex Shadow Rider until Abel's had been knocked out, so you don't have to worry about those mind games, especially since the Whimsicott was able to give it Tailwind there. You would have lost that matchup essentially. So now if you are on Abel's side, you have to figure out how, besides that turn 1 Tailwind, what else can you do to ensure that your Calyrex and your Kyogre are safe? The Tailwind helps you because you'll be stronger. As we saw, the Kyogre knocked out Zacian thanks to the Tailwind boost, but it wasn't enough, even with the double target and the critical hit, was
Played
not
pretty
enough
good
to get
there.
rid of
Played pretty
Dynamax
good there.
Thundurus. So do you have another answer, anything that can potentially handle a Dynamax Thundurus, or you could even bring your own and match those max airstreams as well, opening you up to not necessarily needing Whimsicott to provide the Tailwind if you have max airstream.
We might not be aligned on which Gastrodon we like, but we are aligned on that because the Whimsicott, after setting the Tailwind, we saw how little that Energy Ball was doing, and bringing that Thundurus in instead, considering you don't have to worry about matching a Tailwind on your opponents, and why not put that pressure back? Because Joseph not having need to set up Tailwind, because he can't, has 2 different Pokemon that he can hit super powerful attacks with, and taking that turn to set up Tailwind, you're doing less damage just because of the fact after that you have a Pokemon that is essentially useless on the field. So I would love to see an adjustment like that.
Yeah, also the 2 grass types can be an issue in front of Incineroar. If the rain is not up, you're definitely worried about the Flare Blitz. But if you are on Joseph's end, you did play that pretty well. I would agree that you probably keep those 4 Pokemon, as long as the Kyogre does not become a problem. If the Kyogre is able to just start sweeping Tailwind, Water Spout, KOing everything in sight, then you might need to make an adjustment towards your Gastrodon or towards your Rillaboom there. But for now, if the strategy worked out so well in Game 1, that was a 3-0 victory as well for Joseph, you might as well keep it going.
Yeah, and here it is, going on into the second game. A very aggressive lead coming out from Abel as we're going to see double restricted hit the field. The 2 Calyrexes facing off with a Kyogre on Abel's side up against the Thundurus that did so well in Game 1.
So we know Abel is holding the Focus Sash. Focus Sash is also a very likely option if it is not choice specs on Joseph's end. So you are not worried about losing the speed tie and having your Calyrex knocked out before it can get an attack. They might just bring each other down to 1 HP, and then it's up to the Thundurus who would be moving next, most likely in the speed priority there. Do you double target with the max airstream into the Calyrex slot, or do you really want to pressure this Kyogre? That can be a big problem for you, if you are able to, because you don't want to take full health Water Spouts. We saw what happened in the previous game.
Yeah, the power that move has in the rain is absolutely incredible. But now here we go, Dynamax again to start things off. Thundurus, we saw that capability it had. It can fire off some big attacks. It can get some of that speed, so Joseph could be in the driver's seat here, considering his Pokemon no Tailwind. But here it is.
He's faster!
Water Spout from the Kyogres. That can only mean one thing here. This thing has the choice scarf, and winning the speed tie. The Calyrex is going to be KO'd. And now the Thunder is already down to less than half of its health.
Now it's really important who Joseph attacks, because you do not want to mess with the Choice Scarf Kyogre on this turn. If you go for the Airstream into the Calyrex, you didn't break the Sash. This is not enough for a KO.
Is not, but you will have a bit of speed, but that Choice Scarf Kyogre absolutely huge, because you're missing that speed on your end, but being able to fire off that attack and going into the next turn, no damage has been done to the Kyogre either.
Yeah, you're still at full HP, and you did get the max airstream boost though. So Joseph, Thundurus is typically pretty fast and significantly faster than Thundurus, or than Kyogre, excuse me. So now you would be able to outspeed it again. But even if Kyogre is just there to knock out the opposing Calyrex, you're kind of okay with it at this point. That was a nice trade. You do also have access to switching out Kyogre if you're worried about it. But if he's not even going to max lightning you, you're not going to get KO'd.
It will be the max airstream into the Calyrex to make sure this KO is secured as well. Another airstream boost for the Thundurus, and the first one under Zacian. Already has the attack from swapping in and getting the use of its ability. Now it has a speed boost to worry about as well.
If I protected
now it's going to be outspeeding this Voice Star Kyogre and fire off a Behemoth Blade there. Make sure the water spout's not going to be doing nearly as much damage if that's what Abel wanted to click into this turn. And there it is. This is going to do significantly less damage, and even with the help with the rain boost, it's not going to be enough to KO this Thundurus.
Yeah, that Kyogre now only at half health has lost a lot of base power on the water spout, and because of the choice scarf, it gave you the KO on turn 1, but it cost you there because you couldn't click Origin Pulse or another type of attack. You were stuck at the half health or the half health water spout there. So now what do? Do you switch out so you can reset your attack on the Kyogre, which will then give Joseph essentially a free attack into that slot, especially if it is the Rillaboom there? Or do you just accept that you're stuck in with the water spout and try to save your Rillaboom for later on?
You have so little that you need to do to this Thundurus now, and it will be enough the second time around with the help of the speed of the Tailwind to make sure this Thundurus goes down. Bring the Zacian just a little bit closer down to 0 on its own health bar. Behemoth Blade now yet again. We don't get to see Zacian do too much else, and there's no reason to in this case. It will be enough to KO the Kyogre.
Yeah, that first hit was pretty much on the borderline of 50% of Kyogre's damage there. Would have been a disastrous turn if Behemoth Blade left Kyogre at 1 or 2 HP. But luckily for Joseph, he's able to knock it out. Abel has lost both of his restricted yet again, and now Joseph bringing Incineroar in on this turn.
We were talking about the Thundurus instead of the Whimsicott, but we're going to see both of them for Abel's final 2 Pokemon, and with the Incineroar on the other end, that Intimidate, normally so important, so useful, is going to activate Defiance, and now this Thundurus has some insane power behind it.
Oh, yeah, at +1, you definitely can wreak havoc, especially if you have your fighting attack, which most of the Thundurus do because they like Max Knuckle, and they also like being able to hit an Incineroar super effectively. Not only are you gaining an attack stat because he intimidated you thanks to Defiant, but you're also able to punish him on top of that. So it's like a 2 times bad move from Incineroar to intimidate a Thundurus. You had the Tailwind up, now you know that you're faster at least than the opposing side, but this Whimsicott does not have a Focus Sash, as we saw it revealed in Game 1. So if the Zacian wants to hit it with a Behemoth Blade, if it is able to stick around, if it's not knocked out first, it would not be able to endure that hit.
Well, I'm looking at this Max Thundurus that's joining us, and that is going to be a gigantic issue in here. Of course, the amount of pressure you can put on in the early game with the first turn Dynamax is huge, but a late game Dynamax is nothing to shake a stick at here. Energy Ball still going to be act first in this turn, and not very effective, but just effective enough. Zacian's gone, and now it's only Incineroar to be burying the force of this Max Knuckle into the slot. Despite the attack boost, not quite enough for the KO, but I think that more than enough damage has been done.
That is very clearly a 2-hit KO into the Incineroar, and with the rain being up, the berry reveal is nice, but you now have a second attack boost, so that somewhat negates that. But if you party shot into the Thundurus who has Defiant, you're gonna have a bad time.
At this point, this Incineroar's like, you can just have this. We're gonna look at this game.
You get double Defiant boost because you lower your attack and special attack there. And so on top of the Max Knuckle and the previous Intimidate boosting you on Defiant, this Thundurus is unstoppable.
Regardless of what went down during this turn, this Incineroar is not...
It wasn't going to be able to take it home, right?
Yeah, this isn't a game that is winnable from this Incineroar in the first place. Have a little fun with it. Energy Ball also going to be doing more damage than I thought into this Incineroar slot, and now the Max Knuckle with all these boosts, regardless of how much HP Incineroar had, was going to be enough for this KO, and now we are going to grab is Game 3.
Starting VGC off on Championship Sunday the correct way with a Game 3 in the juniors division. That's all we can really ask for the viewer experience, and the adjustment that match was able, prioritize Thunderous as a big answer into the Incineroar. Max Airstreams are able to keep the pace with the opposing Thunderous there, and it just does so much. I've never really seen people throw caution to the wind with their restricteds and using those supportive or secondary carries or secondary sweepers on their team to come home with the victory, but Abel did that to perfection in that match.
And great adjustment coming out as well. I want to touch on that again. And now it's all on Joseph to where he can adjust in this next match, because this Incineroar, that was the reason why this Thunderous was able to get the boost. I think there would have been enough damage done anyways to that point that it might not have mattered. But
the Thunderous, it can be a little problematic to even just bring the Incineroar into this game. You're also facing a Kyogre team as well, but you really want it for the Calyrex.
Now it's time to hop into Game 3, our final match here in the Junior Finals. The Kyogre and Calyrex facing off against the Zacian and Thunderous.
Joseph is now aware that Abel's Kyogre is Choice Scarf. It is faster than both of Joseph's Pokemon on the field right now. A full health Water Spout we saw in Game 1 was able to KO the Zacian. If you want, you can Dynamax the Thunderous to gain that additional HP there, doubling its HP stat, so it can withstand a Water Spout, and you can respond with a potential Max Lightning. But then if you don't even target the Calyrex Shadow Rider, you're never breaking that sash, and you're also going to take a very strong Astral Barrage to the face as well.
Joseph feeling comfortable yet again with going with the first turn Dynamax, maybe deciding this is still the right play. I still want to get this pressure off, just the targeting a little bit different. And no surprise, the Max Thunderous making an appearance once again.
Yeah, it's definitely the best option for potentially for both of these trainers in this matchup because of how strong Max Airstream can be.
Water Spout now to go first. So much damage onto the Zacian. A critical hit on the Thunderous, and that could mean everything. It will take the KO on the Zacian, but the Thunderous is actually going to survive. Not quite enough damage, no matter how hard these two Pokemon tried. And now, despite all odds, it will be able to fire off an attack in retaliation. The Max Airstream into the Kyogre, not only bringing it down to less than half of its health, but that is locked into Water Spout.
Joseph's Thunderous just took two special attacks from two of arguably the strongest special attackers in the format. If that doesn't confirm Assault Vest, I don't know what does.
The Rillaboom from Joseph as well. This is also a big way to be pressuring the Kyogre over on the other end. The Grassy Glide is definitely a way to get around the speed that Abel has with those two Pokemon.
And Kyogre is now significantly hindered from its damage on the Water Spout, so you might want to switch it out just so you can reset into potential Ice Beam later on, or even Origin Pulse, Thunder, whatever other move, because the Water Spout is just not going to cut it, and that's why Abel had to switch it out there.
The Thunderous swapping out. Kyogre resets. The Thunderous will take the attack better. Now the Max Airstream firing off, just going to be hitting into the Calyrex and bringing that down real low.
Sash is broken at this point, so now any other attack would be able to knock out the Calyrex.
I should have predicted.
And now it's time for the Astral Barrages, and look at that! The Rillaboom is going to be falling as well. The double KO for the Calyrex Shadow Rider, and that's three Pokemon gone from Joseph's end now. Only one Pokemon in Abel's way to become NAIC champion.
Kyogre must be doing backflips in the back right there, because he's so happy to see Rillaboom go down on that turn. He never has to face that Grassy Glide again for the rest of this match. Now it's a 4-to-1 Pokemon count with just Joseph's Calyrex here. He does have the Focus Sash, but it's not like you have any speed boost to be able to outspeed the other side. You're really going to have to worry about who attacks first.
The Dynamax is gone. The Calyrex is not going to be enough at this point to be finishing off. The fact that Abel has 4 Pokemon still on his end, has the speed, has his own Calyrex. It would be nothing short of a miracle. And there's the Dynamax still for Abel.
The Dynamax Thunderous was pretty good at taking the attacks from the other side for Joseph, so let's see. Abel does also agree with that. Gonna get that double HP. Who knows, having that additional HP, it might be enough to withstand an Astral Barrage.
Astral Barrage.
At this point now, it's just about finishing it off. Their Astral Barrage, though, will move first from Joseph. and that is going to be
Because of the
enough to
assault
take
vest on
down
his
the
Thunderous.
opposing Calyrex. The Thunderous, though, different story.
The
Grenade boost over on this end, but
this
now is the chance for Able to fire
But now
back
that he
and
has
attack.
the,
Max Airstream first,
Airstream,
bringing it all the way down to HHP. HHP, friends, but that's only 8 now, and you know that you still have 2 more Pokemon in the back.
You got the speed boost on Thundurus, and you have the Choice Scarf on the Kyogre, so Abel really confident at this point. Also, Thundurus took hardly any damage from that Astral Barrage, so I believe we're looking at a double Assault Vest Thundurus matchup here in the Juniors Finals, which is pretty awesome.
Now, Whimsicott joining the field as there's only 1 Pokemon left on Joseph's end. There is already the speed that Thundurus had, but the Tailwind is going to secure that this Thundurus is going to be so speedy. The Max Airstream, we know that it's way more than enough to finish this off. Abel Ashby, your junior NAIC champion.
What an incredible best of 3 between these two young trainers, back and forth. Abel actually losing game 1 and coming back and winning game 2 and game 3. Wonderful adjustments you'd expect to see at the Masters level. So the fact that Abel was able to do that in this matchup just shows how bright their future is.
Why it's weird when you take them off.
That was Milwaukee last weekend. We got NAIC this weekend. This is just another title in Abel's long list of accomplishments as a junior, and that is phenomenal. You see how excited he is as well.
That was good.
Please join me in giving up a big round of applause for your juniors, North American International Champions. Abel, congratulations on that incredible win. How does it feel to have all of these people here supporting you today?
It feels really amazing. I didn't think I would ever be here, but when I'm actually here, it's very amazing to see everybody in the crowds.
Well, you are on a winning streak right now. You just won in Milwaukee last weekend, and you just took home the North American International title. I mean, what's next for you?
Worlds.
Yeah?
Oh, I'll also be at Worlds.
You seem super well practiced. You played incredible, and it was that game 2 adjustment that really felt like it put you in the right direction. So what were you thinking after that game number 1?
After game number 1, when I saw that he opened up Thundurus, I thought that if I would bring Kyogre and Calyrex to just put more damage on the field than he could, I would be able to knock out whatever Pokemon was next to it and single out the Thundurus.
Yeah, you definitely did that. And so what was it about the Thundurus that was giving you, you know, what you wanted to put a little bit more focus on that Pokemon?
The fact that it had max Airstreams and max Lightnings, because that hurts my Whimsicott and also my Kyogre, which are 2 key parts of my team.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you were able to get that speed in your control, but there was that one point in this match where it looked like it could have gone either way. So what about that moment?
In game 3? So what happened was either he beats me with Astral Barrage and I just kill it with the max Airstream, or I beat him and it's game over.
Yes.
But I had 2 other Mons in the back, so I thought I had it under control, and I did.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you had the confidence moving forward in that match, and it was ultimately able to secure you the victory, and so that's super, super exciting. Is there anyone that you would like to thank, or just any shout-outs?
Shout out to my grandpa who is watching on Twitch.
Woo!
And my family, who is right over there. They kept me at a level head so I could actually think through my moves and make the best possible play at that moment.
I love it. I love that you have so much support around you. Thank you so much, Abel, and congratulations once again on securing that championship title. We've got more video game championship action ahead of us, so we're going to go ahead and get ready for that.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. For Worlds, I'll definitely play better and hopefully get into at least top 4. That's what I'm trying to aim for. Hopefully first place, but I wouldn't mind top 4. And goodbye.